Okay, the chair will go ahead and call the Macon County Airport Authority meeting to order for October the 28th. Welcome everyone, we're glad you're here. We do have a quorum, thank goodness. We can conduct business. And we're glad to have Lori, our finance officer, with us today. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. And so we'll go ahead and get started in our agenda. Excuse my raspy voice, I got up this morning and I've been blowing leaves for about half a day, and I had a raspy voice when it got up. I thought, well, I don't think it's cold. But anyway, you just have to kind of bear with me. Okay, the first order of business is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion. Thank you, approved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved as mailed, and we appreciate Teresa getting our agenda out in a timely fashion, and also the minutes from our last meeting. And she stayed on top of these things. We appreciate her very much. Do we have anyone here from the public that wants to make comments, or? Not anything. We don't give away anything. All right, no one here from the general public that has desire to make comments to the Airport Authority. And Jim Luther is our engineer from W.K. Dixon. He's come up here from Charlotte. We're glad to have you with us today, Jim.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate you coming, and we'll turn the floor over to you. You're going to give us an update on where we're at on our projects and so forth. So,
all right,
the floor is yours.
I appreciate that. The runway project, we did a final inspection with the contractor on Friday the 24th, Friday a week ago. Had a few small punch list items, mostly dealing with backfilling of some electrical trenches and putting some dirt around a few items, and they touched up the painting the next day, finished doing the striping. So everything on the runway should be complete. 1-year warranty period started on that date. We've issued a letter to that effect. There are a couple items that the contractor will not be able to finish that are dealing with erosion control until we actually get Diener to sign off on that. But that once we get a stand of grass and stuff like that, we'll be able to actually close that permit out with him. The contract was initially $2,446,897.86. And they actually completed $2,259,658.99 worth of work. So there is a balance of funds, as I mentioned at the last meeting, in that grant under that item. We did an interim. We were trying to hold off. Contractor obviously is, like I said last month, has been delayed somewhat. So we were trying to do payout number 3 and make it a final. But they requested that we do an interim payout, which has by contract right to have a payout issued every 30 days or to submit one. So we did an interim payout number 3, which Teresa, I think, just had you execute. The next payout will be number 4, and that will take care of the retainage and a little bit of money that's left in the contract. We're still waiting. Look at the numbers here. The contractor owes us some closeout documentation like waiver of liens and things like that from his subcontractors, and an as-built survey of the runway surface. And once that's completed, we'll proceed to closing out the project and doing a final pay application and request to the state. Yeah, we reduced retainage to 5% from 10%, so we're holding about $113,000 in retainage for him to finish closing out these documents. Last month, you guys have kind of given me the go ahead and start looking into making the obstruction clearing a project. I did that. I went back and looked at some of the data that we had in place, and along the way I spoke with FAA and Division of Aviation about that procedure. Obviously you got to have a flight check done at the PAPIs themselves. Well, since you do have obstructions in the approach, we didn't see the benefit of paying upwards of $10,000 to have a FAA flight check for the PAPIs for them to come tell us you still have obstructions out there. So at that point, we're waiting to possibly, and I saw Basil copied you, he's wanted to come up maybe this Thursday or Friday and sit down and talk a little bit about some upcoming projects. The extended runway safety area ranked pretty high in the rankings of funding for projects. That means you've got some work to do in that safety area. I think, of my opinion, it would be best to try to roll the obstructions in with that type of a project and kind of take care of all of them. We could do a project, put it out for bid, clear what you have on airport property, but then we're still going to have to come back and address what's all the airport property. So I'm trying to work with the state to see how we can make this a comprehensive project that would take care of a couple of things here together, the extended safety area as well as your obstructions. And we really need some aerial mapping and photography in that, because it's kind of hard to go out here and do it on a ground survey and actually pick the exact
I wonder if you
location.
have a pilot somewhere around here that might be able to do that.
The state does some of that mapping, and it's also a requirement now with the ALP updates.
See, you want to
Can I now clear the NOTAM on the runway lights being inoperative?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
There's a NOTAM still active that the runway lights are inoperative.
Yes, you
Can I now clear that?
Yes, sir.
And as further note, the helipad lights do not work. They're dead. And the contractor was out here yesterday, and I showed him that, and he said that there's another problem that needs to be addressed for the helipad lights. And I said, well, before they did the work on the runway lights, they worked. But now they do not.
Have they worked any time during the construction? I mean, that's the first time I've heard of the helipad lights not working. Yeah.
Because when they started the construction, all the lights
All the
were
lights.
out. Now everything is working except the helipad lights.
Okay. I'll make a note now and we'll take a look at that. I don't know. We did trench into the vault, so the possibility they
Yeah,
come
they
across
did.
those cables.
And that's why I don't understand why those lights don't work, because before they keyed up with the runway and taxiway lights. Now they're dead.
Okay. It's a very good possibility that they were skinned or cut when they went across there. I'll have the contractor check that. Any other issues there now? On the runway or taxiway?
Everything
No?
else seems fine.
Okay. Okay. I've been trying to get Chuck Durant to answer me back pretty soon on that DVE stuff, and I've just got an email here. We're still waiting for some stuff on the apron from the contractor that did that work to help the county get it closed out from the Division of Aviation. A DVE certification form is all that's missing. I think they're being a little hard myself. I mean, the guy submitted his canceled check and said he paid him and showed he did, but there wasn't some specific form with a signature. So we've been trying to round that up for
Is
about
that
30
Basil
days.
wants that?
Yes, Nancy and Basil, yes, sir.
We'll talk to him about Friday.
Hopefully we'll have, looks like maybe we getting that taken care of. So, he had paid the seating contractor $11,000 some dollars, but on one form he sent in, he only showed $3,200, but he sent the canceled check that equaled the $11,000, and he just wanted another form that showed the balance and a signature.
So that's really basically what we like.
That's all. Yep. Once that's done, you get reimbursed your 30-some thousand.
I'm closing out.
And close out now.
I got one question after the fact. Why did we pile the dirt up down on the end of the construction area?
Which end?
Down where the condensate were?
That was just a stockpile area. If you don't want the dirt there, we can have it moved.
Well, I did last video there. I guess we didn't realize that that's where they were putting the dirt. But now we got a pile of dirt down there. Right next to the wetlands.
Yeah.
But it's not in the wetlands.
Right, it's not in the wetlands.
It's
It's
just
just
there.
there's our stockpile that's shown on the drawing. That's the way
They
it
had
is.
to put it somewhere. And
Well, that's
so,
why we didn't put it out here.
well, it'll probably go out there eventually.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, it's after the fact. I just want to.
Well, we had it permitted and approved.
I'm not ready to
as a
send that
stockpile.
here right yet, so.
Did you find your bill bands? The contractor, did he find his bill bands?
Not that, I couldn't do. I didn't know anything about those. The gate, they had,
It's bent.
yeah, they're supposed to repair that, that's all.
I answered that, make sure that they fix that.
Anything else?
Just ask them whether, but I'd like to know if they got stolen or what, because the sheriff was down there. They would turn in a report.
What is that, Pete? I'm sorry.
The mill vans that they had their construction equipment in, we went down to look to see if they had some extra lights to fix the helipad light was broken. And they said they had the extra lights down there, but apparently they were in the mill vans that got missing because the contractor came to pick up the mill vans and they were gone. And they called me, wanted to know what the mill vans were. I said, I don't know. But, so
Yeah, I haven't
they
heard
called the
anything.
sheriff to make a report, and he was gonna go back to wherever he came from.
That would've been the
Try to get a
electrical
hold of the electrical contractor, see, but they're the ones that sent him up there to pick him up.
Right.
I was getting off our back, but I just wanted,
Yeah,
they fixed it.
Nobody's asked me or given me any information about that. That's the first I heard about it.
So that's where I thought maybe the gate got bent.
It got bent when they came to pick up the trencher, is my understanding. When they loaded it on the low boy, it went out and hit the gate. But they didn't say anything about any equipment being stolen. or
That's the last.
That's pretty much it. We're in deep, if you will, with the taxiway design. You know, the survey's been up here and had to come back and do some additional surveying for us and get some other information, but we're working on that. Again, Basil wants to come up, talk about that project, talk about some future funding possibilities on this Ursula.
And we're looking forward to him coming up.
See how we can keep things moving along.
Yeah.
I guess
We'll treat him real good, I'll assure you that.
I emailed
Hopefully.
him trying to schedule that meeting. He says right now, looks like, he told me before I left on vacation that it looked like it would be Friday of this week.
Copy me the email.
So it'll be either Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
We good, Mr. Chairman, because we got the AWAS, and we got 2 more parts of it's broken now, so.
We had a lot of, seemed like a problem with that. I'm not sure it lasts, what, a year, 6 months to a year? Of course, it's been out.
I've seen it go year to year, you know, when they do their certification, never had a problem with it.
Yeah, all of a
It's
sudden.
just within the past several months,
Yeah.
this has all cropped up. And that one issue is really pretty critical as far as pilots, as far as the ceiling readout.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hang
We
on
need
is
to
there.
really get on top of that and get it fixed, because it's a big help to the pilots.
And we,
Well, it's a must when you're on that bar out there, because they will ask you out there, if you've got Macon County weather, so you don't know what ceilings are, you don't know whether to go to the approach or come on in the unit. So it does make a big
It makes a
difference.
big
to the
difference.
pilot.
Yeah. So,
are you, the airport and the county being responsible for the bills on those repairs, or how is that working?
We do a nominal amount of money on the AWAS and certain things, but I think it's, and I'm talking from what I've talked to people on the phone, and the contractor, you know, state
It's
picks
still
up,
state maintenance.
state maintain, because they have the contract.
well, yeah.
Now, there is part of it that, I think some of those cards that we've had to put in that get blown out, but we do pay for that, and they go about $1,300. We got a buffer, something like that we have to pay for, but
Yeah, we don't have anybody
But I don't-
else, I think, he's working.
Yeah, they typically don't pay for lightning strikes, that becomes an insurance or maintenance item.
Yeah,
And
we got insurance, so it's insurance.
and the state has a maintenance contract that they do all the AWASs in the state, that's what I was wondering. I know some of the old ones, they didn't. If you put in a new one now, they'll let you use your non-primary entitlements to put in a new AWAS, and then they pick up the maintenance on it after that. So that's something to consider. Those kilometers go out. There've been an issue on some of these older models for a while, and after a while, the price of that thing just starts being such that it makes more sense for you to use 10% of your grant monies and put in a brand new one. If you're having to pay something out of pocket that winds up equaling $7,000 to $10,000, you can put a $70,000 AWAS in and have a new one.
I think, Mr. Chairman, that's something we need to talk to Basil about.
Yeah.
And also, talk about insurance. We got insurance, we got $1,000 deductible, I think, so everything we buy is $500. So.
Yeah, we.
Insurance is great. $700,000.
Okay, has anybody else got a question for Jim?
Yes, sir.
Sure, go ahead.
Doesn't have anything to do with this, but it's just for my information. Is there grants available for FPL buildings? Is that done anywhere?
Terminal buildings. Yes, it is. There used to be a separate pot of money that was a 50-50 match from state funds and local match. Now that's gone away and you're in competition for all of the money, so that's listed on a TIP that, I tell you, hangars and terminal buildings do not get much point in consideration now.
Well, I thought that was the way, but you know, is that just North Carolina you're talking
Yes,
about?
that's North Carolina State.
Now, like in Georgia or South Carolina, it could be different.
South Carolina is a little different. Georgia is probably as difficult as it is in North Carolina, even though, because they're a block grant state too. South Carolina is not a block grant state, so you're really dealing directly with the FAA on the grants instead of going through the state transportation department. But they used to give you $375,000, 50-50 match, so you could have basically 700. To get a grant, it would be a 90-10 type grant.
But it was at one time. Okay.
Yeah, that's how North Carolina put up a lot of terminal buildings in the past 6
Well,
or
you know,
8
I'm
years.
thinking, Pickens got a
Pickens
new
did a
one,
new one.
Tacola's got a new one. They can't even afford to use it, but they've got it.
And that's how some of that came about.
It's a nice one, yeah.
Is that-
Albemarle, North Carolina, Stanley
They
County.
got wash approaches on, yeah, they got wash approaches on both ends of theirs.
Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah, on 20 and what's the other one?
Who's that?
It's
Tacoma?
2-1 and 3.
They've got
0-3 and 2.
wash approaches on GPS, wash approaches on both ends. Step downs too, on one step. Ain't no reason why we can't have it.
I agree.
I mean, they're doing the step down. See, they got mountains over there. They got all that mountain range right there in Highlands. And what they're doing is they're stepping down. I think you start off at, was it 7,000?
I think 7,000.
7 or 8,000. And it steps down each time. And ain't no reason why we can't do it on either end of ours.
Once you get these instructions, the FAA's.
That's the big thing that needs to be done is it's whatever's instruction, because you can't even get them packies or nothing done until that's done.
See, you hear that? We gotta get it done.
That chainsaw.
Pete's done a good job.
I'm not taking the bullet this time.
I'll go
We,
with that.
don't we have to pat, Pete on the back, but he's done a good job
Oh,
on
I know.
getting some of these trees down. I mean, he had a heck of a time for
Just
about,
got
what,
the
a
wrong
year?
one.
That he hung in there and got it done.
We have to do it early in the morning sometime.
Slip out.
Oh,
How far out are they talking about?
Now FAA looks at C and D category aircraft as well as A and B.
Well, what, even C and D, I mean, we don't even have C and D.
A lot of airports don't, but that's what they're looking at. So a major trapezoidal shape go from being 400 foot wide at the beginning to being 800 foot wide. So you picked up another couple hundred feet on either side that gave you a larger swath.
Well, that's gonna be over there on the mountains.
Yeah,
And a lot of people, they don't own that property, that's another thing, so now you gotta go deal with land acquisition or easement acquisition to do some
Cut
clearing.
it down to 9.
You're not the only airport, in that, it's all over the country now, they're doing that. And we've asked, why can't you just put on the approach plate, C and D is not applicable or whatever,
The county has an ordinance, that we can cut, remove the tree.
Well, you know, you see on some of those approach plates, you don't see C and D on them.
No.
So they're doing something, some way to get around that C and D. Because some of the approach plates don't have C and D on them.
this started like past November, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I know they print this thing about every 56 days. But we,
Is there any word on our rotating beacon situation?
I've got the lowdown on this thing today. I'm gonna pass this around here. Is everybody through
yeah,
asking?
Yeah, I'm done.
Jim, question? All right, we'll go on to the next agenda item. Construction light rotating beacon is has been on the agenda, I don't know how many times, in the last year.
Several times.
Every time.
And it got to be very frustrating. We couldn't get no movement off of dead center. But today, we're ready to roll. I'm gonna pass this one. There's two, I'm gonna sit right here. We got one here, price on putting a brand new beacon installed, for, I just wanted to top of the line. We've got another one here to refurbish the one that's there, and that's to refurbish what's up there. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Look at the first one first.
Yeah, let me think about that.
Well, I'd say that old one, they don't tell them what it's got in it, you know.
It can be, it can be refurbished, they'll take it down, they'll fix it, but, on top of that, $10,000 out there. It's not a plastic.
But they want to take a new one.
Yeah.
This under warranty too, that's got,
And probably some of the gears and the gearboxes
Yeah.
are totally different than what they used to be. Limit switches and everything.
that's what I told you. So, as soon as you get through looking at that, Gary and Pete, let's kick it around a little bit and see what y'all want to do. And as far as the chair's concerned, I'm ready to roll. Now, I gotta have a vote before we go any, get too carried away here.
Well, we've needed one for years.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Miles?
Yes.
When you all meet with Basil on Friday, Thursday or Friday, would you talk to him, Jimmy, about changing the scope of 2013 MPE funding to include that? Because it's there,
That's on my note.
and that should make it pretty,
Yeah.
What turns on the beacon for IFR? Can the-
I guess both cell probably.
Automatic or does
Huh?
Neil?
Yeah.
Does Neil
It's
turn
on
it on?
all the time.
It's on all the
Not
time.
if it's
No,
VFR.
I don't think so.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
It's all.
It only comes on one side.
It would have to be at the
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the see what I.
Turn it all the time.
you just don't see it.
It turns all the time, but didn't come on.
That's about half the price that we've got previously. It's been around 18 to 22,000, I believe, is what we, and one of us to refurbish the one that's there now, and that was about 18,000 plus. So
Did Walker and Whiteside come talk to you, or?
they called me. They called me. And I talked to them. Yeah, out of Greenville. Yeah.
Comes on at night.
And what did they want to?
Well, we talked about it. They was going to send me a quote on, let's see, last week, what last week, and I haven't got it yet. But Steve Ledford was gracious in helping us get these quotes, people he's done business with. And of course, he's a maintenance man for the county, and he's got a lot of good contacts, so he got these quotes for us, and he's going to try to be here this afternoon, and he's trying to something up he couldn't make it. But he was, I mean, he's ready to roll with that one, that unit. He said he'd recommend that one over the other. And I believe we can get, that money that we had left over from last year, and as Teresa suggested, that we talked to Basil about it. We've got, we got $90,000
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that, but there'll be plenty of
Anyway,
way
we
to
got
get
plenty
this.
to do, plenty of money to take care of that.
He's got to change the, DOA's got to change the
Yeah.
scope of that grant.
Okay.
And the way they're talking, it's just a formality, when y'all decided what you wanted to do with the rest of that MPE money. So I think that once y'all meet with them, I don't
It
think
sounds
that'll
like
be
we
a
don't be in
problem.
high cotton on this thing itself, I mean,
Well, what turns that on, like Gary said, when it's IFR? See, if it's IFR during the day, a photo cell's not going to just cut it on. Or there's some kind of control that has to go into the
Now,
AWAS.
Yeah, you asked me a technical question, I can't answer.
I'll ask the
All I know is it comes up. That's as far as I can go.
I'm just wondering if there had to be any other controller with it.
And it comes on at night. Also, it's on all night.
Yeah, it's typically got a photo cell and it's wired separately back to the vault by itself, so it doesn't work with the AWAS or anything else. It's-
Okay, during the day, if it's IFR, it's supposed to come
It
off.
should come off.
But if it's daylight, photo cell would
That's
would
right.
work.
But it was still, if it's IFR, it's gonna pick it up. It doesn't have to be day and dark or night and day before it comes on. It's gonna be
So
on.
it's-
And you can also go out there and turn it on manually in the vault if you have to.
Jim, what do you think about that?
That's better than the 20-some thousand you had last time.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna be and I haven't seen one of these in operation. I'm used to the old style that you got there. A lot of people are diehards about those old style. They'd love to refurbish them, but
Well, it's.
I can't tell you anything about the
approved by
heat.
FAA, I'm saying.
Yeah, it's approved. I mean, it's obviously an approved item. It just goes from gears to a belt drive, and that's what that was
Yeah.
saying it is. As long as you get a warranty on it and see how it goes.
That's kind of the way I see it, yeah. All right, Jim, what's the pleasure of the board on this?
I make a motion that we get the new one.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, we got a motion on the floor. Then we go ahead and buy the new one, and any further discussion about it? Any questions? One of the things we probably have to do, council, we may need to get this private here. If we go ahead, I'll take a vote just a minute on this. If we have to enter into a contract with these folks, I would imagine we probably would, I don't know. I haven't talked to them directly, I think Steve has, but what would be your advice to us? Yeah, since we really don't have the money at hand, Lori's here, our finance officer, and Teresa, how would we handle the funds on this, say, to pay, if we wanted a contract with this company here?
Well, now Lori would have to talk with you about the bidding part, but if Basil approves changing the scope of the grant, we just submit the invoice just like we would anything else, and they'll reimburse it. But the scope of the grant has to be changed. That would be the only thing that'd be holding
That'd be
it
the
up.
only thing we hold it.
Do we need a third bid?
That's what I was sitting here thinking. You've got a bid on a new one and a bid on a refurbished. It would be good to at least have one more bid on a new one, just to make sure, because you're talking 10,000. What was the number you said, 10 or 12,000?
Yeah, it's under $11,000.
Is there a dollar amount that you have to do that?
If it's over 5,000, you try to get quotes, and at least two apples to apples quotes is,
You might want to need a motion to the fact that we get another bid.
And like Teresa said, the main thing to keep it in order is if the Division of Aviation would approve change to the scope of work on your MPE,
And that might take,
then from that point, you'd have time to get another bid.
Yeah.
And then whoever your low bid is, get the purchase order issued, the contract signed, whatever you need to do.
so the real request would be to get a second bid on a new one,
Yes.
because that's where we're leaning. And we've got a very favorable first bid.
That $22,000 bid, is that a new one?
No, that was sometime, that's been, 6 months ago? Longer than that. About a year ago, I guess.
But in about the time frame you would get that second bid, which presumably would be higher, we may have had the time to get the money shifted over. Is that right, Laura?
I would think so, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I know Division of Aviation has their paperwork process to go through to change the scope. But yeah, sounds like it should line up and
Now,
coincide.
would there be any reason that we could go ahead and make the, to get a second bid? But we'd have to look at the specs and stuff. We couldn't go ahead and just vote to automatically take the lower of those two bids. I don't think we could knock the total board or something if it was necessary. Try to get it done between now and the next meeting. But will the money be shifted before next meeting?
It should, I would think so. With Basil's been aware of this all along.
Yeah, he has.
So I would think it wouldn't be much of
I
an
think
issue.
he'd get right in step with us on it.
I don't think it would be too much of a stretch if we were to have the money in line. We have another bid coming, we may tell the boys in Robbinsville to pencil us in. pencil us in for a time because we're gonna be very close to, like at the meeting in November, to doing it on the record with the two bids, presumably.
So if we get another bid, then it would be wise if we not, if the news media would cooperate with us, not put the price, the bid that we got yet.
Right.
Yeah, it would, that doesn't need to, although, I mean, I don't guess it could hurt us, because it certainly
Now,
might.
somebody, might make this fellow, if he lost the bid, he might say,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
not
you don't
fair."
want to go there. You don't want to get into
If you want to
that.
use the informal bid process per the bidding, you would typically draft a letter, send it out to 3 individuals. You don't have to get 3 quotes, you can just show evidence that you solicited for 3. And then that's your record, basically, on the informal bid process. And you don't have to have a bid opening or anything. You can say, Macon County Airport Authority wishes to procure, installing and furnishing a new rotating beacon. Please provide a lump sum cost to do that. And I would suggest you talk to Walker and Whiteside, same guys that I put you in touch with, and Barnes and Powell, who did the lighting out here, and then these guys, and that gives you
Well, you should get some good
3
response.
people, and if you don't get but 1,
You've tried, yeah.
Right,
you try.
Was that installed cost? That was installed.
that's my understanding, that's installed.
Yeah, that's a,
Well, I guess I need to amend my motion to,
Okay.
well,
How do you?
it may not even require a motion now, it's just a procedure we're going through to get a couple more comparable bids.
The next,
Right.
the next meeting, we go ahead
Yeah.
and make either I poll, all of you will go ahead. If we have it by our next meeting, go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You will withdraw your motion.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead and just withdraw your motion.
I'll withdraw a second.
Okay, all right. That's what it works.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraged, I feel that we're on the winning side of this thing, a win-win for us. We've got the money, we've got some good bids, so I don't see no reason why within another couple of months we can't have that beacon working. And I know you and Gary would be glad of that.
I don't think I've seen it in years.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
If I scare you, you see that.
Not stupid.
Miles, can I ask you something while we're on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
line? Did Casey Jennings ever get in touch with you?
No, he did not.
Because I think he's gone to Africa. He was out in the office talking to Kevin Ford the week before I went on vacation. And I asked him, and I kind of reminded him to get in touch with you, but I swear I think he was in Africa next week. But anyway, he's interested in talking to y'all about doing these construction writings.
Well, we looked something.
Yeah, and he evidently climbs
Be in
towers.
favor of that. Yeah, okay. I'll make it a point to, if you don't contact me this week, I'll try to contact you.
Okay.
When's he gonna do that?
I'm not sure. But I think that he left on that Friday, I think they were saying.
Who does he work for? You know?
I think he works for like UNC Television or something like that. Richard knows all about him, and so does Kevin Ford. I can find out.
Okay.
And maybe give him an email address for him
Yeah,
if you want me to.
yeah, that'll work. I appreciate you doing it.
Because y'all may have enough money, well, obviously you're gonna have money left over in that MPE,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, they just have to go back in the coffers, but
Yeah.
Right.
you got money left over on them.
Yeah, and on the MPE, typically they just kind of.
Things
Okay,
are
all
changing.
mine's
That's
clear
true,
on
Jim.
this agenda item? We'll move on to the next one. Okay. Maintenance report. Pete's been down looking after our maintenance down here, doing a good job. We appreciate what Pete's been doing for us. And even, he's been mowing.
Chief job.
Yeah, he's up in charge of work down here. So Pete, if you kind of address some of these issues that we've got facing us without our maintenance program here at our airport.
Well, the county, they did say they sprayed the fence line with Roundup, so, see, we need a lot of just touching up. Just wondering about the center out here, if we need to go ahead and mat that so we don't have this reoccurring every year instead of trying to
That's
clean
what
it up.
we need to do, I agree.
It's all died out, and I pulled some of that, go ahead and redo the whole thing, depending on how much money we have. And, we saved a little money on the utility bill while the lights were out, but now that's come back a little bit more than I thought it would, but, we'll see what the next month is.
A lot of these lights are supposed to be cheaper.
Well, I think they are cheaper, but not as much as I expected. I hope we get all of them redone, so maybe we see some recapitulating on the bill there, that we can move that money to another account. We're staying in the black, but at the end of the year, we kind of get real close to the red side. So we kind of program it out pretty close. So as we get into winter here, we might things slow down a little bit. We get somebody come out and give us a bid on that out there.
I'd be in favor of that. We need to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot of money on doing landscaping in front here. I'm just using that as an example. And it looks like a dog now. So we need to get it where we can take care of crab grass and
Yeah.
ragweed.
Well, that's what I said. We can pull it all out there, but some of it's already back.
Yeah, I know.
But we've still got that on the road out here. We're looking at, save some money to do the roadway out there. And that's in our arena to do that with our money. So I think the original cost, we did it for about $3,000. The whole thing, that was back when trees were there. So if we could get that cleared down there for $1,000 or $2,000, we'd be money ahead because we're getting behind on the creek side, which is where we're at.
It looks pretty bad.
We need to, and Steve, when they get to get the sidearm mower and mow along the roadway and the fence on both sides and get that taken care of. And then we can go back in there and look if we have to do a weed eater job all the way around. We need to get the big stuff out first. And if Steve could do that, bring the sidearm mower back down here and spend about a week down here as the winter time gets here, before it gets real bad, real wet.
Yeah, it's pretty flat, I guess.
But it's, there's so much of it out here, even on the bank out here, we can take care of that. Or if it just leaks
Well,
down here, we take care of it.
Honestly, we've got to do something, but we cannot allow
We've got,
the bushes and the vines and so we'll take that fence over again, because if we do, first thing you know, we're not gonna have a fence. It's gonna put it down. Like we had, we put $500,000 in this fence here.
you don't want to give it,
And it's a good fence. I mean, it meets FAA requirement for security reasons. And we gotta keep it maintained. I mean, that's the bottom line.
we can't even get to it on the backside here because of the regulations. Because we can't put the culvert in the creek anymore across the creek. Like we had it in before, so. I understand though that we might be able to do that, so we can get it. Somebody said that now, since it's stormwater, there's another caveat there that you can put the cross. So I don't know. Stormwater people said, if you can't get to it, just put the culvert down. So we can't do that because we can't take the culverts
How
out.
about building a little bridge across
Well,
there? Did we do that?
Yeah, I think you
Build
could probably
bridge.
do that.
but it,
I'm not familiar on your maintenance side what that requirement will be, but I know if we were doing a project, we could put a culvert in the creek. We'd have to do a creek crossing and all of that.
Yeah, I know.
The bells and whistles with that.
We used to put some bridges across, keep from both culverts in.
Yeah. Of course, they let farmers do it all the time. Yeah, they can bridge the creek anytime they want to and cross it, but.
He goes to that.
so I don't know where to go with
Well,
that.
we may need, it wouldn't take a very wide bridge to get,
No,
what, 8 feet, 10 feet?
below 12 feet, get on both sides. But all they need to do is get the tractor across.
Yeah, well, we gotta do something.
We need to get this cut out here and then walk it. We need to walk it over the whole perimeter again and see where we're at. Get an idea of what we have to have done. We're gonna have to have a bush hog. Bush hog will do a lot of it. Go ahead and take care of it. And then the sidearm mower will do the rest of it, so.
I'll contact Steve and see what we get him to do.
And it's still, still pretty dry out there now, so.
No snakes at all.
Pete, who does your roundup inside there, like around the lights?
County.
I don't get snakes with it.
I'd ask you not, or at least tell them not to round up or anything around any of the runway light stuff that we just put in. Because it's under warranty, number one, we're trying to get a stand of grass. I've actually had a couple of airports right after the contractor goes out there and sees they come along round up. He's like, well, how can I get grass grip? They don't kill it for me. But we do have to get a good stand of grass to come up.
I don't
so
think
we
they
can
round up them yet, but they're getting ready to. So I'm glad they haven't done. They won't do it this winter. I mean, you can't put it on there right now, because
Oh, it'd be
it's
waste.
winter time. But next, I'm glad you told me that.
Well, yeah, we don't want Diener to give us the okay that we got ground cover and get the permit closed. So.
Yeah, we won't stay in compliance with that. We've been in that road before.
There's so much little maintenance that we can do down here that's really, we just have to have the funding. You know what it is, but just gotta have the funding to do it. I mean, we're lucky the county is helping us right now to get this done.
Teresa, if you'll remind me, we'll bring that issue up basically when it comes up Friday.
Okay.
Friday. Because, you know, we're getting some bad, how should I say it? I gotta think of the correct adjectives to use, what I'm about to say.
They just move on.
We can't fix this today.
I hear a animal radio could put us in a bad light, so that's all I'll say.
But the good part about it is everything stopped growing right now, so we get a good idea of what's out there, especially the beacons on top of the hill up there, we'll be able to see them again. Just gotta get them working.
Yeah, so, yeah. We'll get a hold of Casey when he gets back, and get this project going too. Okay. Are we through the agenda item number 6?
I think we talked about, 6 of 7.
AWAS.
We've talked.
AWAS. We talked a little bit about AWAS, so, Jim, do you have any part of these AWASs across in your, I guess, jurisdiction?
I don't know how old yours is or what model it is or anything, but the state,
Well, let's see.
like I said, has picked up maintenance throughout the state on them, and they will allow you to purchase a new one with your non-primary entitlement monies, and then they pick up the maintenance on those items. It's actually all run through the state. They actually have a guy in their office now that contacts the AWAS manufacturer and gets the contract and everything set up. They're really just switching check, giving you a reimbursement back on your non-primary.
I think AWAS is put in 06. Do you?
6 or 7.
It's not that old.
No.
Yeah, that's not that old. The ones I've seen issues with on the cylinders are 15, 20 years old type deals.
That's another thing we'll talk basically about when he gets here. It's just thing is Richard, and he says it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, cylinder, for sure.
So. Okay. Any other business? Everybody's off the clock. Okay, having no other business to consider, why the chair will entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Your second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate you coming very much. And Lord, again, thank you for coming. Chuck's being with us.